Have you ever had that incredibly annoying moment where you're lying in bed at 2 a.m. and your brain decides it's the perfect time to play a greatest hits montage of someone who treated you like absolute garbage? You're there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about that one time they made you laugh or the way they smelled, while another part of your brain is screaming, "Are you serious right now? They were terrible to us. Have some self-respect." It feels like a betrayal of your own intelligence. It's like being allergic to peanuts but somehow craving a PB&J. You feel weak or maybe even a little bit broken. But here's the thing, and I want you to hear this clearly. You aren't broken, and you aren't a glutton for punishment. You don't miss the pain, you miss the person who happens to cause it. The truth is, when we miss those who hurt us, it's not because we're drawn to the hurt, it's because pain arrived through intimacy. The wound carries the shape of the bond that caused it. We miss them because, for better or worse, they mattered. Think about it like this. If a random stranger yells at you in traffic, you're annoyed for 10 minutes. You call them a few choice names, and then you forget they exist. There's no missing the guy in the silver sedan who cut you off. Why? Because there was no connection. But when it's someone you shared your secrets with, someone you planned a future with, or someone who saw you at your most vulnerable, the hurt and the love get tangled up like a pair of cheap headphones in your pocket. You can't just pull on one string without feeling the other. Our brains are actually kind of wired to be a little bit delirious when it comes to attachment. There's this psychological phenomenon where we tend to filter out the bad memories when we're lonely. It's called fading affect bias. Basically, your brain is a terrible editor. It cuts out the scenes where they were gaslighting you or stood you up for dinner, and instead it puts the scene where they bought you your favorite ice cream on a 24/7 loop. It's a survival mechanism from back in the day when being alone in the wild meant getting eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. Your brain is saying, hey, maybe that person who yelled at us wasn't so bad. At least we weren't alone. Thanks, brain. Super helpful. And let's talk about the toxic glow. You know what I'm talking about. When things are good with a person who is generally bad for you, those good moments feel 10 times more intense. It's like eating a salad every day versus eating a giant piece of chocolate cake once a month. The inconsistency creates a literal chemical addiction in your brain. You're not missing a healthy relationship, you're coming down from a dopamine spike. It's a withdrawal. But beyond the science and the brain chemicals, there's a deeper, more human reason. We miss them because of the version of us that lived within that relationship. When you lose someone, even someone who hurt you, you also lose the person you were when you were with them. Maybe you were more adventurous, or maybe you felt seen for the first time. Missing them is often just a disguised way of grieving a part of yourself that you aren't sure how to access without them. It's also incredibly frustrating when you feel like you're the only one mourning. You might wonder, if I miss them this much, can they feel it? Are they sitting in their room thinking about me too? Honestly, maybe, maybe not. But here's the cold, hard truth. Their presence or absence in the mourning process doesn't validate your feelings. Your heart isn't a Wi-Fi router. You don't need a signal from them to justify why you're hurting. Missing someone who broke you is like missing an old house that burned down. You wouldn't want to live in the charcoal and ash. It's dangerous and it smells, but you can still remember the view from the window. You can still miss the way the light hit the kitchen floor. You aren't missing the fire, you're missing the home. So how do you stop the 2 a.m. montage? First, stop beating yourself up for having a heart that works. If you miss them, it means you're capable of deep connection. That is a superpower, even if it feels like a curse right now. Second, start looking at the whole picture. Every time your brain shows you a greatest hits, force yourself to watch the director's cut with the deleted scenes of the arguments, the tears, and the moments they let you down. The wound is shaped like the person, but the healing is shaped like you. Eventually, the space they left behind won't feel like a hole. It'll just feel like room for something better. You aren't crazy. You're just human. And being human means sometimes missing the very thing you were brave enough to leave behind.